There we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Can I hear everyone?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Can you hear
you.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's my
Perfect.
fault. My fault. I
Thought I was
was
joining hybrid squad then.
It's just me playing around. I did not know what I was doing. Welcome, guys.
It's good to
Welcome,
meet you
guys.
guys.
It's
I
good to
know,
meet you
I'm
too,
going, mate.
actually.
I'm going. I thought I was online with William Saliba. I'm off. I'm done.
I gotta warn people about my accent, you know.
You got actually a very good accent. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's
It's
very
not
nice
it's
to
not
meet the
quite
three of
tangy, but yeah.
you. It's very nice to meet Simon. It's Simon again, and new guest George. Introduce yourself. You guys already know Simon anyway, so
Yeah, hey
George,
guys, I'm
introduce yourself.
Saliba season. So yeah, George, call me George. Really excited to kind of be on this. You know, I've been looking to talk about our youth and kind of get into the podcast game a bit. So really excited to kind of just share my views.
True. So let's just kick it off. Let's start with the preview: Arsenal versus Slavia Prague. Your thoughts? Let's start with the guest, George. What's your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, today's game, I think is I'm confident on it in general. I think if you look at the last game on the balance of play, a lot of the clear-cut chances, even though I kind of questioned the lineup at the beginning, I felt that the balance in terms of not having enough runners in the front line really impeded us, and I felt like there were a lot of gaps to be exploited. There's this kind of mid-block that they seem to do. A lot of the European teams do it. We saw it really quite similar with Benfica as well. I think in terms of us, we just got to take our chances. You know, even though I don't think we played great, if we did put away some of those gilt-edged chances, it would have been a very comfortable tie. So ultimately, we just got to do our business on the pitch, and the rest will sort itself out.
Simon, you?
I'm not confident. I'm not as confident because even though that Sheffield United team we played was terrible, I'm just hoping that Arteta picks a front three basically of Lacazette, Pepe, and Martinelli. We need to start with that front three, and we need to go into the game where we actually attack. Where if we actually attack and rather than just sit back and try and catch them on the counter attack, because that's what played into their hands in the first leg. Because we literally gave them so much time on the ball and just so much space for them to do stuff. That's what worried me. So, but with Arteta, it's like 50-50. We don't know. We need to see the team, what it's going to be first before you can even look at it and you can go, right, I know exactly what he's going to do. If he plays Lacazette, Saka, and Willian as a front three, he's playing defensive. And he's hoping for us to actually catch him on the counter-attack, get one goal, and just go through by that one goal. I want to see an attacking team. I want to see Granit Xhaka as the left-back because it keeps him well away from midfield. There's no difference. There's no surprise, why we were so good against Sheffield United in midfield. Because with him at left-back and Sheffield United didn't cause as many problems, this team will, more than Sheffield United. But as long as he's out of midfield for me, I think we'll play better. Partey will have more freedom to do what he wants. It unleashes Ceballos to do what he wants. And I've been told, like half an hour ago, it's touch and go with Odegaard. He could be on the bench or he could start. That's what I've been told. So
what about Aubameyang? Is he out or Aubameyang?
Oh, Aubameyang. I've been told Odegaard and Aubameyang have both gone. Basically, that's what someone's told me. So
I think it depends on really what kind of lineup that you're going to put out. I think the big thing for me was if you look at Sheffield, why I worry if we do set up the same way is their counter press in midfield won't be the same. We kind of saw 3-1-6 where I want Partey to be the orchestrator, but if you only leave one person in that mid block, you're going to get run around. So I think we need an extra body there. I would prefer instead of Ceballos, I would actually prefer ESR. in there. I think he's a much harder runner. And I would actually put Martinelli up top. I wouldn't have Lacazette come in. I would want the balance to have a runner kind of up top as opposed to kind of on the wing. And I'd prefer an ESR who will make those runs, but also have the technical security to be an option for Partey between the lines. So I think I actually would have Saka at left back to provide the width, and I put Pepe up front on the right wing. So my team would actually be Saka, Gabriel, Chambers, Cedric as my back line. I'd have Xhaka, who's a little bit more in the build-up, a little bit deeper, but give Partey the reins to go up in your pivot. And then I would actually have ESR, Odegaard, which I think he'll be fit personally. I knew it was always a daily assessment, just kind of in the medical timeline. It seemed like it would be something that we would risk, but I'd have ESR, Odegaard, Pepe, and then Martinelli up front to lead from the front with a press.
I think
yes.
I would go with Ryan in goal, because we've seen with Leno when they came for corners, we've not got the defenders, in my opinion, to deal with corners. I mean, there's a video that one of my mates put on social media, and it shows basically two players, Mari and shows Granit Xhaka, with his eyes closed as the ball's coming towards him when they equalised. And I don't want to see any of that. With Ryan, he will actually not just catch the ball, he will actually palm it away from danger. He won't try and just push it out like Leno does. Also, when we try and defend free kicks and set pieces, Ryan is comfortable to come out and actually catch the ball. And then he's very, very good at distribution as well. Very good, I think, Ryan, at that. And I think the defenders are more comfortable with Ryan in goal as well. When you look at Leno and playing out from the back, that's why Xhaka or Ceballos are having to come and get the ball off Leno, because you can see he's not comfortable with having to play it out. He'd rather just boot it. Ryan actually is what I've watched and what I've seen of him with Brighton. He actually thrives on getting the ball and is very good with his feet. So for me, Ryan would be in goal. Cedric would be the right back. I'd have Mari and Gabriel as centre-backs. Xhaka would be the left back. I'd have Partey, Ceballos and Smith Rowe as the midfield three. And then I'd have Lacazette up top, Martinelli on the left and Pepe on the right. Because I just think that high press and basically them three chasing down, Lacazette is so crucial to Martinelli and Pepe. It's a little bit like with Firmino and with Liverpool. He comes back, receives the ball, and he links up so well with anyone, better than what Aubameyang does. I'd even throw Balogun on the bench as well for this, now that he's signed his contract. So I'm expecting Arteta to give him a few run-outs towards the end of the season, because in the Premier League, let's be honest, it's a dead rubber. I would happily start Balogun not on the bench against Fulham and then bring him on in the 60th minute or the second half and see what he can do. Give him a taste for it rather than just chucking him out there for next season. But that's just what I would do.
Yeah, you know what it is, mate? For me, it's if you're going to play Lacazette, I want wing forwards. That's what I really don't mind the philosophy, as long as the balance of the front line is there. I call Lacazette and ESR backboard players. So when they're going to come into midfield, you need runners beyond them in order to release the outlets. So I'm totally fine if that's going to be the plan, but you have to have Martinelli and Pepe on the wings. If you're going to put a Martinelli or an Oba up top, then you need technical security across the front line. So that's your ESR, your Odegaard, and your Sakas. So I really don't mind the philosophy as long as it makes sense for me. I worry about Xhaka at left back for this position because I felt that Slavia's strongest side was the right-hand side. And they have pacey wingers that I'm worried about. I think they don't have much of a goal threat personally, just Sima I was really kind of worried about. But other than that, I'm worried that if left isolated, Granit can't turn. And I'm worried that we would get caught there. So that's kind of why I wanted originally Saka there, but still have the outlet threat with Pepe up top on the right wing. But again, it really just comes down to balance, right? Like if we play Lacazette, then yeah, I agree with you. You got to have Martinelli and Pepe as your wing forwards. If you have your Oba or Martinelli striker, surround them with technical security. That's basically where I stand on it.
Yeah, I understand what you mean as well with
Yeah.
Xhaka. Obviously, he's got like the turning circle of a boat,
A
literally.
truck, yeah.
Imagine him
That's
running.
so.
Imagine Xhaka
It's
running.
when you have your two centre backs and you have Xhaka on the left. Their dangerous side came from the right.
Yep,
What
exactly.
I saw. That's
Exactly.
what I mean. So if their dangerous side comes from the right, you have Xhaka on the left. That left side in the first game didn't really hurt us, even when we had Pepe and we made the substitutions come on.
Mhm.
It didn't really hurt us in the game. So that's why I'd have Granit Xhaka there, because then he would roam into basically. So you've got Partey and you've got Xhaka in front of the two centre backs.
Mhm.
So technically you've got like three centre backs plus Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, kind of defensive, but then I'm thinking more attack, basically. Go for them. Because when
We
Oba
need to.
came on, Pepe came on, and Martinelli came on, they were terrified. They were terrified of Pepe with his pace.
You know what it is? It's the
And
intent
you
for
see-
me. I always say for like attacking wise, what we need is you need to have the intent to attack the space. Pepe, Martinelli, what do these guys have in common? They don't care who you are. They will go at you. You know, it might not come off, but they will go at you. They have the mentality to just go. And I think when you have a mental block in Europe like we do have, we need to substitute as many players for those that didn't go through the same Europa League campaign as last season, because I really think that you need to surround yourself with mentally strong players. So if you're going to have a plan with this game, attack them from the front, have a high press. You are Arsenal. This is Slavia. We don't need to overthink it, and just go at them. And I think the chances will come.
They play quite a relatively high line, to be fair. So I'll be playing Pepe, Laka, have Saka. If you get in beyond their back line, it's not like their back line is like rock solid. It's quite easy to penetrate. So I would say if we have Pepe, Saka, ESR, runners who can get in beyond from the box, like a hold up the play. As you can see, like for example, against Sheffield United, like the criticism we had in the first leg at Slavia was that Lacazette's not getting to the box enough. He's too slow. But against Sheffield United, he was still doing that same thing. But because he had players like Ceballos, Pepe, Martinelli all getting in the box, you weren't complaining about Lacazette. So I think if we're going to play Lacazette, we have to have runners like Pepe, ESR, or even Ceballos just to get in the box and, help him out, because that will help us.
You know what? I worry about Ceballos because for me, there's no doubt he's good on the ball, but I always call him a small space midfielder. So he needs options around him, and he doesn't do well in big spaces. He shows this always, whether it was Sheffield, Burnley, what did those all have in common? We were on the halfway line. He had options with him, and there were very small spaces. So if you play him in a game like this, where I think there's going to be a lot more transitions, he'll struggle. So if you did want to do something similar to Sheffield, I would replace him with ESR, who's a harder runner, more two-way. He can come help back, and he's not afraid of big spaces and still provide the overlap that we saw with Martinelli that worked with Sheffield. So if that's your plan, awesome. I think he easily fits that role. But again, I think we repeat where it just is about balance. So tell me your philosophy, and if Laka's playing, have wing forwards. That's basically where I stand with that.
I just want to highlight on this question. So if we lose today, do you think Arteta should be sacked? Or do you think the club will get him sacked?
Hypothetically, he should be sacked because it would have been 2 years where the target's been Champions League football. That's what their target was, Champions League football. And if he's failed 2 years in a row, we've gone from 8th to 10th, and we've gone from getting past Olympiacos in the last 32 to getting to struggling against Slavia Prague in the quarters. And you've got Roma, Ajax, Man United, all there waiting. Can't rule out Granada, but, we've still got them waiting as well. So for me, you look at it, he should be sacked. But realistically, when you think with your head, he's not going to get the sack. He's still here. Because why would they spend so much preparation for this summer just to go, well, it's not worth, get rid of manager, we'll get another manager in. But then they've got to look through different players then. So I can't really see him. To me, everyone says it's a must-win game for him to keep his job. It's not. Because he's still going to be here.
It's not a must-win game for Arteta. It's a must-win game for us. Like, this is what I get really confused at with on Twitter. For us to compete again. If you see Arsenal as a top 4 side and you're one of those people that are saying it's not good enough, we're Arsenal, sorry, this is not it. Yeah, we have to win. From an Arteta standpoint, I've always felt that you need to manage your expectations. So when I saw the beginning of the season and I looked at what we were given after the transfer window, I saw no 10, Aouar wasn't secured. I was worried. We had a very big gap in midfield. I knew that we would struggle. I would argue that our midfield balance is probably outside of top 12 teams in the EPL. Especially with no number 10. And you have to understand that Partey, while we got him, he didn't play. So we had no transition threat. So it's no use saying that you can include Partey in your evaluation this season because he wasn't here for half of it. So you're lacking a midfield presence to control transitions, and you're lacking technical security. How are you supposed to win football matches? That was my opinion at the start. So I felt like we would get 8th. I said it at the beginning. I go, with this transfer window, we won't do well this season. But what I did want to see was a philosophy. I wanted to see what he wanted to do with the squad, and I wanted to see a culture change. We didn't get rid of the players I wanted to get rid of. We did that in January. So for 4 or 5 months, we had a dressing room dynamic that was horrific. Look, there's a lot of context with it. On Mikel, I think that I judge him more when I see the personality he gets. So if he gets himself a technical reference up top, he's great that he's got Ode on loan and, he's got ESR. But if he gets his personality wants up top, he's got another fullback. Because let's be honest, we don't have a right-hand side. Our fullbacks are horrendous on the right. So we really only have a left-hand side bias out of necessity. So we have a lot of holes in the squad. If you just fix a couple of those things, my expectations raise. I expect top 4 next season with 2 or 3 additions, mainly in midfield and in the fullback area. Then I feel as though the spine of our team is complete, and I can expect and actually compare us to other top 6 sides. I always say that if you're going to compare us with Man United, you got to be fair, and you got to actually evaluate, do we even have the profiles? Forget the quality. But if you look at midfield, who is our number 10 reference that can play 38 games a season? They have Bruno. So if you're going to compare, forget the quality argument between the two teams. Do we have the profiles? Do we have a McTominay who's always there? Partey, I love the guy. He hasn't been here all season. He has not played 38 games a season. So we don't have that. So if you're going to compare us to that team, then you're assuming that our team is of equal balance. That's been my big argument with this stuff on kind of evaluating Mikel. I think it's very clear he's a great coach. I think he's already done 2 or 3 different formations that nobody's thought of. It's helped stem the bleeding on a lot of stuff, but man management wise, I think he struggles. He's learning the job. There's not things that, I don't think he's infallible. The Saliba situation really frustrates me. It's weird because, I've got my AVI. So people think like, I only love him, but I think that situation was handled really poorly. Even Martinelli, in terms of him coming back from injury, I think he could have been used more. So Mikel's done stuff wrong, but he also has had his hands tied behind his back, in my opinion. So as soon as he gets a squad that's complete, then I will raise my expectations next year. He has to get top 4 because I think that we will give him the funds to complete the midfield and the fullback area. So that, in theory, gives him the tools. Right now, it's almost like you're saying, can you build a house with just one hammer? Well, if it's a shitty house, cool, but you didn't have the tools. So if I give you the tools and you fail, then you're out for me, 100%.
Yeah, his management terrifies me this season with what I've seen. Like with Thomas Partey, where he's not had a pre-season, he's come straight in after signing him for us, and then he comes into the midfield, and we're expecting him just to click like this, and he's got to get used to the players around him, and then he's got to get used to the tempo of the Premier League. It's all right playing a Champions League game at Anfield for once and thinking he can do it. Can he do it over a consistent time? So that's what's annoyed me with Partey, with Arteta with Partey, because you can clearly see Partey's played this entire season injured, 100% injured. I won't be surprised if the guys took painkillers, because he knows, Arteta's clever enough to know that El Neni, Ceballos and Xhaka at the start of the season, that midfield 3 would not get you out of the Championship. That midfield 3 would be fighting relegation in the Championship. As much as people want to rave on about them, that they're fantastic squad players, that one's actually an under 21s
It's a thing,
championship
mate. They're
player.
squad players. You said it in what you said. They're squad players. They're not
This
starters.
is it. So when you watch Partey against
But
Tottenham, and you could see he wasn't great, but he was still head and shoulders above anyone on the pitch. He's doing things, and you're looking at him, and you can tell when Partey's on it, and you can tell when he's not interested, and that's because he don't want to get a big injury. And Arteta has mismanaged him, basically, like same as when he was injured, and he pushes him back on the pitch. He's trying to get Partey through it because he knows that midfield's not good enough. But now you've got Odegaard that's come in January. It's kind of took the pressure a little bit off Partey.
So why would you say that his man management terrifies you? I'm not
because
I disagree.
he
I'm just
plays,
saying
You know what, guys? I'll give you a better example. I'll give you a better example of the man management that I actually felt was a valid criticism. The Pepe situation. Do you guys remember beginning of the season and the Pepe red card? And after that, he slammed him for kind of immaturity. I felt that was the wrong decision, where I agreed. I was furious with him, but you don't go on in the media and you don't do that because he's a big influence in the dressing room. He's an experienced pro, and you don't slam somebody who you need to work, who is 72 million pounds, for being immature. And you don't do that in front of everybody in the media. You kind of fast forward when, Granit had a red card. A couple months later, he didn't slam him. So it showed his growth that he was able not to do that. And that's one thing I will give him. He's humble enough to change, but his initial reaction was fiery, it was emotional, and it was that of kind of an inexperienced manager. Let's call it what it is, really.
He is inexperienced.
And he is. And so that's why I struggle with people where it's like, you got to expect this. The guy has never done it before, so it's not perfect. I get it. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not happy with the situation. Please don't excuse that. I'm not excusing eighth. But what I am saying to a lot of people is, if you're going to get this with a young manager who's clearly talented, I kind of refuse to believe that, everybody thinks he's not a talented coach. I think it's there. Whether he succeeds, I really is going to think it's going to come down to whether he's given the funds and the platform to succeed. That's a question mark. So
yeah, he is a talented manager. He has got, literally, you look at his game and how he sets a team up, and when it's going through the game, he changes it. And I think that's when the players are also not getting confused, but he's shouting as much on the touchline that he doesn't need to constantly change things and tell people what to do. Because that's when players look at it and go, you've just told me to do this, and now you're telling me to do this.
He doesn't trust them.
That's because he's smart enough to realise that we're in danger. We're in danger, and we need to sort something. So he tells, if you watch a film, right, called Coach Carter, and you see when that's what I mean. You see his character, right, come in, and he goes, Linda, Linda. When the other team are saying Linda and saying different women's names, that baffles the other team because they don't understand what's going on. If they say defend, defend, attack, attack, you're telling them what you're going to do. So Arteta's very clever. I will give him that. He is a very clever manager, and he has literally got a question for everything. He hasn't got the players to answer that question yet.
He has not got the players. That's what I feel. I feel like he's very, very talented. You can see he's tactically. I put him as one of the best. Like, I know it's high statement. I say, do we make mistakes? Every manager makes mistakes tactically. I say he's very, very, very intelligent tactically. I think it's just the players. You see him shout at the touchline. And I saw the other day, I was watching on one of these journalists, I can't remember his name, and he was saying he feels like Arteta shouts too much. But I was saying the reason why I feel like Arteta shouts too much is because these players
doesn't trust them.
They don't concentrate. He doesn't trust them.
Yeah.
Like, they don't concentrate for 90 minutes. They need to have someone constantly in their ear, like constantly telling them what to do.
How is 6'2" Holding letting Sterling dunk on you in a header? I'm serious. Like, if you're a big aerial ability, like, look, I hate hammering our players, but if you are a center back, and if Rob is starting for Arsenal, he's got to clear his lines, and he doesn't. And and it's not just Rob; it's everybody in the team. They all have these brain fart moments. What I will say is, Mikel has got 3 or 4 different formations right now. I've been keeping track that the opposition hasn't seen. The 3-4-3 that he started with fooled the league. It's what won us the FA Cup. It was a genius formation. It was a hybrid system, what allowed us to win and get Aubameyang in the best kind of position. This 3-1-6 that we saw was actually the exact same thing that Wenger used in the 2017 FA Cup final, if you remember. He also built in a 3 and had Xhaka as the diamond. So when we actually built, it was prime Wenger. And you know what? It's no coincidence that the goal that we produced was the most Arsenal and Wenger goal on Sheffield. It's no coincidence. It's because it's the same system. You know, we go back to a couple months ago against Leeds, this 4-2-3-1, which I was a very big advocate of getting a creative left wing. That's another system that, again, worked wonders. And you know what? I think that's the one that he really wants to do. He wants this 4-2-3-1 hybrid that really is you build in a 3, but you're going to attack in a 2-3-5. And then you'll defend in a 4-4-2. That's been my big philosophy. I kind of talked about it on Twitter a lot. I think that's the evolution of this team. But, you know, he's striking a balance between saying, look, this is my plan. I don't want to deviate from it, but I also don't trust you. You can't complete this plan. So I'm trying to fix the problems, but right now it's just a hull with 5 holes. So let's plug one. Let's use a 3-4-3, for example. I want to get Aubameyang up there up top, but you know what? Everyone's going to crash the center and they're going to cut off our supply. Crap. Now I've got to go to the second hole. Okay, you know what? I lack technical security. Let's do a 4-2-3-1. Add Odegaard, ESR up top. Great. We solved that problem. We're great against low blocks, but our defense suffers. Crap. Okay, let's churn to a 3-1-6. Do you see what I mean? So there is too many holes because this squad is not complete. So on Arteta, I guess I'll just end in terms of my thoughts because I think I'm rambling, but Arteta, give him the tools. If he doesn't succeed, I am with you with wanting him out. If you believe that he has the tools right now and he's failing, I think that's a different question. Do you think he is a talented enough coach to take us to the next level? I do. I put him up there with the best in the world. I will say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I think tactically he is up there in the best in the world. Does he have the tools?
Ganged on here.
No, mate. No.
That's fair enough. If you think that, then brilliant. When he gets the players that plays to his system, that's when I'll judge him. And if it leaves me with getting abuse online, see, he's proved you wrong. Fantastic. Amazing. I wished for Wenger to prove me wrong since 2012, and he never did. Yeah. He never proved me wrong because he bought players, but he did it just basically getting bodies in. He gave up. I said in 2015, he gave up. He gave up looking for his philosophy. He gave up going for players for his philosophy because he was always, when Wenger was in his philosophy and what style he wants and the perfect football, he always went for little miniature players that were brilliant to go around and just pass it round and tic-tac. By 2015, he went for defenders that were good caliber, but they weren't your top draw defenders, but they basically just hoofed it, got rid of it, just hoofed it. And then he went for attackers that just loved scoring goals for fun. That's it. Nothing else to their game, just scoring goals. And that's where I looked at it and went, he's given up. He's given up. He's going to go soon. He's given up. But because he couldn't just leave Arsenal, because if he did, nobody else would have come in to help us and we would have been in even more mess. So they've tried bringing people in to try and basically prepare for Wenger leaving. That's why he got his 2-year extension when you had all, don't sign a contract and all that. But we see all that now. We see all that. And now that he's not in the firing line anymore, people are now starting to appreciate Wenger again.
You know what? I won't. It's tough for me with Wenger because I'll be honest. I have a huge bias. He's my idol. He's my football idol. Really, I really have trouble criticizing the man. I use this analogy. I go, what we did with Wenger is we tied his hands, dropped him in the middle of the ocean. But you know what? In the end, he pencil dived. So, you know, it's not like he's infallible, but we can't look past some of the stuff that we did. You know, he wanted Conte, we gave him Xhaka. You know, he wanted Manolas, we gave him Mustafi. He didn't want Lucas Perez, and he didn't want Lacazette. He wanted Oba a year earlier.
Yep.
That's well documented. So it's like You add those key things, and does 2015 onwards go the same way? I don't believe
That's what
so.
I mean.
So
and when he
it's
weren't
like,
getting the players he wanted, that's when he gave up, and he knew
exactly.
then.
And so it's like, I struggle. Do I think he should have left early, especially after the first FA Cup win? 100%. I wanted to protect the man's legacy. 100%. Did he not get us there tactically in the end? 100%. Yes, he did. Was the man tied behind his back? Yeah, he was. He was. Those things are all true. So on him, I think maybe just looping back to Arteta, because I think that's the big thing now with us is, do I see a philosophy I can believe in? I do. Do I think he has the players to execute? No. Should I then expect him to compete with Man City, Chelsea, the top 4 or 6 that have the players? I can't. I think it's not logical for me. So I will wait until those players come. I've said this season is about a philosophy and a culture change. I don't care about the table personally, where we end up. But then next season, when we address those concerns, I expect top 4. That doesn't happen, I'll question. I'm there with everybody saying I don't know if he's the man for the job.
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving him till next season because I've seen enough of the half the season he was there and the season he's been. Clearly, these players are nowhere near good enough. They're average at best. When you have a squad that most of them is average, there's only so much you can get out of them before their true natural ability starts to show. You know what I mean? And I've seen enough about Teta that tactically he's up there with one of the best. Like, I've seen enough. Like, I know tactically he's well ahead of his. There's a reason why Pep, when Man City were so comfortable to the point where if Pep left, they knew they had a replacement in place. They knew that Arteta is the perfect replacement. They planned for him. Like if
Mate,
Pep
he's
was
got
gonna
5-star reviews from every one of the top managers in the game. All the
everyone,
best football minds go, he is great. So there's something there. I don't think they're all disingenuous saying, oh, let's just, make sure that he stays in the job. That's kind of ridiculous. That's just Twitter tropes. But he's got the mind. And you know what actually makes me even more confident? It's his player identification. So I look back last season, what did we really need? What were the players that we recruited? What are the profiles? Gabriel Partey, what are we talking about there right now? 1v1 specialists who can run. Okay, that is the biggest thing we lack. We lack between the line presence and ball carrying ability. Those are just facts. So when you recruit those 2 pillars, that's amazing. That's what we're lacking. So if I look into next season and I'm like, who else did he want? He wanted Awar. Oh, what's similar? 1v1 specialist, ball carrying ability between the lines. It's the same thing. So you know what? The philosophy is there. If people ask me, hey, what's the plan Saliba season since you believe him in so much? Mate, that's the plan.
If Guendouzi didn't have such a bad attitude, he could have been Arteta's. He could have been Arteta's gem, but he had such a bad attitude and just basically taking the piss. And it's like, you're not here for holiday camp. You're here to work.
And you know what, mate? I'm with him on that. I'm okay. If you're gonna do a culture change like that, yeah, you're gonna go through some trouble. And you know what, mate? I bet you. Look, Guendouzi in this midfield is better than Ceballos. Let's have that right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but he is purposely, exile, or I don't know about exiling, but saying you're not part of my plans because you don't fit the culture I want. I love that. I don't think that's been done in this club for 20 years. Honestly,
bending itself to have egos, too many egos.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm okay with the hurt now, if it sets the precedent later. That's basically where I stand with it. So, let's give him the time. Let's see where we're doing, and I think you guys agree the moves we've made off the field bode for an excellent summer. So he will get the tools, I think, regardless of where we end up. The quality might be a little bit less, but he will get the tools. For example, I don't think he'll be said, you can't have a backup left back, which I think he was said in January, by the way. I really think he wanted one, and he was told, we can't do it, mate.
Yeah, sorry. He had to pick, what I was told, he had to pick between a backup left back or a creative midfielder. And because the creative midfielder was so crucial, that's where Odegaard came into it. Yeah. And you got Cedric that can play right and left.
Mhm.
So technically, he's already got someone there. It's not
Yeah.
high caliber or good enough, but
No,
can
but
do
he's
a
an
job.
option. Yeah, he's an option. And so, and you know what? You can tell in his press conferences. Like, he tells you these little things if you watch him. He wanted a left back. Some of these people on Twitter, I find, you're just being disingenuous. The man clearly wanted a backup left back. He didn't want to play Tierney every single minute. That's not something that, he wanted to go into the season with. When you have 3 right backs, guys, deep this, we have 3 right backs, 1 left back. Is that logical to you?
This squad was assembled so wrong.
We've got 2 strikers that are greater than £50 million in value, and not one of them have the profile we need. We need a mixture of the 2, but we spent almost 100 million on them. Does that make sense to you? Like, some of the moves we've made are ridiculous. So for me, you can't blame past failures and then say, well, why can't we expect us to be competing if we're dealing with this crap? So let's clean it. Let's gut it out. Go through the pain this season. And by the way, I might add, there's still a lot to play for. So this idea that, we're done this season is ridiculous to me. There's a European trophy on the line, and Champions League is 3 games away, 4 today. So
I just hope
because that's when everything will literally just change, and people don't realize how much it will change.
Yeah.
But let's not tempt fate.
Yeah,
we'll
I mean,
talking about Champions because people are asking about it at the end, but we'll get into that. But like if we win the Champions League, I am excited. That's
Europa, you mean? Yeah.
Europa League. I can die happy when that happens.
I think you said Champions League. I was like, oh, mate, trust me. Yeah, I could do that.
I can die happy when that happens.
I'll be honest. My secret, I think Arteta has had his Wenger moment, and it's that Willian quote, where in the next 3 years I'll win you the Champions League. I actually don't think Willian will be with us, but I honestly think that will come true. I've always said, I think this season I've got us to win the Europa League. I'll be honest, that's been my prediction. I think it's going to be a Man U final too, which is scary, but I think we're gonna win.
I'd be confident though. If we got to the final and we played Man United, we've won it. Because Ollie hasn't got an answer.
He hasn't scored a goal against us. He hasn't scored a goal against us.
He's got the players, but he hasn't got the mindset. He's not got the skills, the tactics. That's why Arteta wins every time he goes up against him, and it's always we always beat Man United without breaking a sweat. So I'd be confident if that were final.
And Slavia is going to be harder than Villarreal. I'll tell you right now, just in terms of the matchups of the teams and how they set up. We do great against a Villarreal team, somebody who wants to keep the ball but not major runners. They don't have outlets. We don't do well against the counter press right now, but that's why Villarreal, they'll be great. They'll be great opposition for us. We just got to get through today. Like I said, you got to do the business. Look, at the end of the day, and I think, and you know what, to be fair to Arteta, he's said the same thing. He's like, I can show you all the plan. It's great, but I'll be judged on results and output. And the man's right. Like, he will be. So let's do the business today. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The only reason I say let's win the Europa League, because I'm not going to shy away from it. I've said it on Twitter, so that's where my opinion is on it. I think after we do that, we'll know where we are in the season. We'll know our targets, and we'll know what we can achieve, right? So we win the Europa League. That opens another list of targets that are separate from if we don't, right? So let's take it day by day, step by step, and game by game, right? So win this, move on.
Okay, so let's move on from this game. Let's talk about a topic that, gets you, a topic that Arsenal are very proud of, and it's their youth, Haaland. Let's start with the Balogun news about him signing the contract. George, what's your opinion on that?
It's amazing. This idea that he wasn't good enough because he wasn't looking likely to sign a contract was just stupidity, and people protecting themselves because they don't want to have egg on their face. The man is a world-class talent. I've said this for over a year. I've highlighted Balogun since when I first joined Twitter in January 2020. This guy is special. He's got the mentality. He's a killer. I don't think what people realize. I did a thread on his qualities a little bit ago where he can pin back center backs, but at the same time, this guy's got the technical security and the first touch to quickly turn and attack space. And you know what? When he's in the box, he doesn't struggle. He knows where the goal is, and he will find it with precision, both feet, bottom corners, all the time. And, I have a feeling we've missed a killer. That I really don't think we've had a killer striker since RVP. So, this guy is a killer. He will go in. If he sees a space, he will take it. So don't give him the space. I think he will. He'll give us that option of a plan B as well. So the big thing is I think we've got our runner Martinelli. I still view him as a striker. I think people debate left wing. Is he a Son, like a wing forward, or is he a striker? For me, I see him as a striker, but regardless, he's a forward, right? He's a left forward if you want, or center striker. Balogun, you can play with him, or we can play without him. Balogun can also play kind of on the inside off the left, like a Timo Werner type. So, he can play off a striker. People think he's just a number 9. He's got great feet, great half-turn ability. So this man can absolutely play a left wing, by the way. He's very creative. And he's dribbly, too. I don't think people realize what kind of talent we have here. He's very, very complete. He's a complete 9 profile. Whether he will fulfill the potential, that's a separate question that we can deal with. But the man is a world-class talent.
I first watched him in 2018 when he were the under 21s, and basically nobody had heard much of him. But the game that I can't remember the team now that he played against, it was an away game.
It's Ipswich.
And that's the one. Yep. He absolutely battered everyone, and the way that he plays on the ball, I've said, is the next Didier Drogba. By the time he's 25. Chelsea fans will be looking at him, and the first thing they will see when they see him, they'll see Drogba. That's what I've said, because he's fantastic with both feet. His link-up play is exceptional. His looking along the line to make sure that his offside is unbelievable. His runs are fantastic. The quality to bring it down from the air on his chest, knee, even the foot is literally... We're talking about an absolute elite striker. And this is why I'm so glad that we've got him signed up. Because to me, he was never going to leave. Because when you think about it, Laka's got 1 year left.
Yeah.
Eddie's got 1 year left. Aubameyang will have 2 years left, going on 1. So you knew that he was going to stay. It's just, would he be able to get that game time to prove and show himself? And one thing that I will say with Arteta, and biggest clap ever, William Saliba. Because I'm so glad that he actually put him back out on loan to Nice, because he's got his head sorted, he knows exactly what he wants to do moving forward. And Arteta saw all this when we're all abusing him and saying it's pathetic, stuck with Rob Holding, Saliba should be there. No, because Gabriel is new to the league as well. So you would have had 2 defenders that are new to the league, and they would have absolutely crumbled, in my opinion. Especially with the loss of his mother, his mum.
Yeah, it was his mum. And mate, you know what? That's don't what forget? I mean. It was the French league as well. It stopped. I don't think people realize the man hadn't played for almost 6 months of football.
That's
when you deep it from the summer and stuff, he hadn't played for 6 months. Look, I love the guy. Do I think he would have done better for us? Yeah, he definitely would have. Would he have made mistakes that people would have slammed him for? Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
so the
100%.
loan was the right idea. How we did it sucked. We should have done a season-long loan and had it sorted from the beginning of the summer. I really believe that. But him going on loan was the right decision. Let's not make any mistakes about it. He's coming back now with a season of mistakes out. He looks confident. He's got his agility back. If you look at that Instagram video, I know it excites a lot of people, but with Saliba,
I've watched him all season. Ever since he's been at Nice, I've watched him. Even Mbappe struggled to get past him.
It's because he's a master of what I call controlled aggression, guys. So what I mean by controlled aggression is when you're isolated out wide with a pacey winger, you're going to want to take Mbappe, for example. Look, Saliba is fast, but he's not quick like Mbappe. So what I look for is, can a defender stand him up, not foul him, guide him line, and then muscle him off the ball when the ball is outside of reach? He does this every single time. And you know what? That's what's going to make him a world-class talent. I've said in many videos and many kind of tweets, really, he's a generational talent. We're going to reevaluate how we define a center back's role with him. This guy is the dribbler of a midfielder in the back. He's going to step in and be almost like a second DM. Yeah, he's complete, man. He's nuts.
Defender.
Yeah.
And to think we could have lost him to Tottenham. Oh my.
Dude, I was never worried about that.
That was brilliant stuff from our recruitment team as well that came in to actually let him go back to St Etienne for a year, and everyone says it's pointless. Well, who does that? Who does that? People that's got actually good business sense and know that you can't, at the age that he was, you can't just chuck him in the Premier League and expect him to do something. They've actually nurtured him brilliant. And that's the credit that he needs.
It's very difficult for French players to adjust to the Premier League. That's why I wasn't upset with the fact that Arteta's not playing him. I'll give you 2 examples. The first example is Bakayoko. You know, he was highly rated. The one from Monaco. Do you guys remember when Monaco went on that unbelievable Champions League run?
I worried about him.
Brilliant. Absolutely powerhouse, brilliantly. He signed for Chelsea. Conte didn't actually originally want to pay him. He wanted another midfielder ahead of him. But because of injuries and the fact he couldn't get the play he wanted, he ended up playing Bakayoko. And he kept making mistakes, which ruined his confidence. And now look at Bakayoko, look at where he is in his career. Another example I want to give you is Fabinho, another player in that Monaco team. Look how when he first signed, I'm not sure you guys noticed this, he didn't play. Fans are like, why is Fabinho not playing? Why is Fabinho not playing? Why did we waste all that money on him and he's not playing? And Klopp said, patience.
Mate, Robert Pires took a year to get into the league.
Yeah, he did.
Like, people forget, you know.
It takes a while for you can't just chuck Saliba in there because he looks really good in the front. You need to nurture them properly. That's why I always say nurture, balance, and then picking them at the right time.
You know what, mate? The biggest thing with Saliba as well that people don't understand. Look, I clearly watched him. You know, he's my AVI. I know him like the back of my hand. You know, I love this kid. But you know what people don't realize? In order to support a William Saliba, you need the midfield. I will say that. He's going to step into midfield. He's going to be on the ball. And you know what? He's going to have, you know, your heart in your mouth because he's going to take on 3 players. But what do you need in order to support that? You need a pivot that is two-way, that can support somebody stepping out of the defensive line and attacking the midfield. In order to do that, you need somebody that's going to come back and going to cover that. We don't have that. Yeah. We have Thomas Partey, but he can't do it all. You know, if you're going to have Saliba doing that, and you're going to have Gabriel, who's an aggressive defender, by the way, who likes to come up behind the back, he always steps up. You have 2 areas where they're going to vacate space. You need a pivot that is strong enough to cover people that are going to step into midfield. Look, this is all an evolution. This is where we're going to come to. We're going to be a halfway line defending team. But in order to do that, you got to wait. Just be patient. You know, you need
since we've moved to
anchor.
the Emirates, we've never had that since we've moved to the Emirates. I remember Scalacci saying playing for Arsenal was like being on death row, because there were no midfield and we had to do all the work constantly, defending all the time. And that's because even if you have players like Santi, Coquelin, Frimpong, wherever they were, and you've got Scalacci, who was a proper top draw defender. He's no mug, he's a good defender. But even he was saying it was hard. It was hard playing for Arsenal back then because they were constantly just cutting through our midfield, which means we had twice as much work to do, which is the reason we conceded so many goals. Since Arteta's been here, that's one thing I've seen. We don't get sliced open all the time. We don't concede 3 to 4 to 5 like we did under Emery.
You know why, mate? It's his non-negotiable. It's central compactness. I will let you know right now. That is something, regardless of the formation he plays, the man has central compactness in every system. So you look at it, if you build in a 3, he's constantly got 4 or 5 players in the middle of the park to cut out transitions. Forget the fact that they can't athletically do it. He's got people in there. So you know what? We just got to wait for the players to come in. You know, I see kind of on the chat also, thanks everybody for the love. I see a lot of stuff, so I see it. Thank you. But a big thing is Boubakary Samari. I'll just touch on him really quickly and why I love him. This guy has the controlled aggression, the two-way nature, and is a big presence between the lines in a ball-carrying sense. He is Partey 2.0 that can help on the left side. So if you've got now two people like Partey, okay, they can share the responsibility, allow both fullbacks to go up, and what that means is now we can attack with both sides with great variation. Now, people won't know how to just defend one side. They won't just defend the left-hand side and cut off our attack. If they do, they're going to leave the right-hand side open. So in order to allow the expression that I think everyone criticizes Arteta for, you need to make sure you got a spine that can cover those spaces. Otherwise, you're going to have Emery 2.0, and no one wants that.
See, Simon, that's what I was always saying. I actually don't think he's a defensive coach. I don't think he wants to play like that. He doesn't want to play like that. He's playing like that because that's what he has. He can't play. If he plays like that, we're going to get absolutely slaughtered and cut open like a knife through butter. I don't think he's a defensive coach. I'm watching.
I was just saying on what I see. That's all. But like I said, I'm praying that he does prove me wrong. And if it means you two come on here and absolutely hammer me on a video, I'll take it. Trust me. I'll take it.
Mate? You know what made me understand that he wasn't this kind of coach? Forget all the stuff that people talk about with Sterling or whatever. It's how he uses Tierney, right? And how he chooses to create wide overloads. So he has looked at this squad and said, where are my athletes? Okay. And Kieran Tierney is a big space player, right? If he was a defensive coach, I would actually expect the midfielders to overlap and supply the width and keep our big space runners behind because he's afraid of somebody getting in behind. But the fact that he allows Tierney to go up and he sacrifices this by inverting the fullback, adding another body inside, and actually kind of leaving the right wing on his own, it's because he says, look, I think Kieran can make the difference up top. He can make the difference in terms of a crossing sense, and so I'm going to risk allowing him to do that, to go up wide, and I think he wants to do that on the right. So that's the philosophy where I think he sees, and it makes no sense to just attack down one side. So I look at what we do best, and I think he wants to replicate that in other areas of the pitch. That's the blueprint that I see. So in order to do that, and we'll probably get on, the right back needs to be supported. So what do we need? We need a similar profile. You all know my favorite. I've been preaching this since I think November or October 2020. It's Hakimi. That's the guy that is going to allow us to open the right-hand side. And you know what? We already have the profiles to support him. Partey, Saka. That's the perfect right-hand side in world football. I'd argue the best in world football, to be honest with you. You've got two players out there in Saka and Hakimi who are world-class in and out. So you can underlap or overlap at will, who have amazing creative passing and have the legs to support the width that they need.
Because you'll also see the best of Nicolas Pepe as well.
100%.
Pepe will just explode with Hakimi behind him.
He supports both, but that's why when you look at recruitment, you can't just target it to one player. You got to have a philosophy that you think will work. Pepe, Saka, they're both inside forwards. Let's have this right. Saka's a little bit more creative. I think when he grows up, he'll be a goal-scoring threat massively. I think it's underrated, but you know what? It's not part of his game right now. That's fine. Pepe, though, he is an inside forward to a T. Don't have him on the touchline, getting balls and then just recycling possession. Get him inside. Now, I know why we're doing that. Let's make it clear. We're doing it for a reason because we don't have the players to do it. But you add Hakimi, that opens up two players, and now you've just boosted the transfer value of two players. That is how you recruit to a squad, to a philosophy. Instead of just saying, you know what, I really like Mazraoui. He's really great in Ajax, but why do you want him? Well, if you're going to invert him, cool. If you want an inverted right back, fine, he's an option. But then don't say you also want Hakimi, who's actually quite different. He's much more of a wing back and roll. This is why I don't understand when people just, shout out names. Let's recruit to a profile. Well, yeah, a plan B for me is Rydell Baku. I love him. This is a great plan B. It's a right back at Wolfsburg. This guy is a mini Hakimi. and he can absolutely provide the width, and he has great appreciation for space. He's a little bit more dribbly than Hakimi, but he's a much more competent 1v1 defender.
His name's Baku. Oh, I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Eh? Seriously, but you know what? This kid, guys, I'm telling you, he's gonna smash it up. Rydell Baku is definitely my plan B personally. He's amazing. He's 21 years old, and he's a mini Hakimi. So if we can't get Hakimi done, he would be my plan B for that position.
Okay, so let's talk about. We kind of drifted away from the topic of Hail.
I know, eh? Yeah, sorry, that's my bad.
No, it's okay. Your analysis is brilliant. I was just in awe.
Cheers, mate.
This is why we were so amazed in the group.
Very kind.
Yeah. So we were talking about in the group chat. We were arguing who's our best Hail End talent, and you had a strong opinion on this. So I'd like you to take the lead on this. Who's your most favorite Hail End talent?
It's no secret. I love Keto Taylor Hart, and I'll say it with pride. That guy is going to explode like Saka. So why do I love this guy? So I'll be honest with you. A year ago, I followed Keto for a while. I was really intrigued. When I see somebody that doesn't care who you are and attacks space constantly, who's ambipedal, that just both-footed, okay, it can go in and out both sides. Keto has done it left wing, right wing, in the center. Let's make no mistake, he's a left winger, but his versatility, he's shown he can do that both sides. And the biggest thing that he's shown is separation. So when I see a winger, I evaluate two things, right? I go, hey, can he create separation when he's standing still? So what I mean by that is when the ball's got to him and no one's running, can he get past his man over and over again? Absolutely. This kid does it all the time. Can he go in and out? That means can he go underlap or overlap both sides? Yes, he can. He doesn't struggle. He does. If you're on the right wing, you don't get in a Wobie situation where he's a deer in headlights. He is fine. He will kill you both sides. Now, when you start adding a year later that he's grown 6 foot, you start going, hey, hold on a second. He can now shake off defenders on the run. In addition to all these technical traits, oh my God. You then add the short backlift that he has and the power he generates from really a standstill. It's crazy. So this guy has got it really all. I always compare him. He is Reece Nelson. He's a 6-foot Reece Nelson, but with Ismaila Sarr's running power. That is a scary thought, guys. That is a very scary thought. Now, look, I'm very high on him and his potential. He's got a lot of way to get there, but when you start adding those physical traits with the technical traits, that means, hey, the EPL is no problem. This is what I look for in youngsters, by the way. They can amaze you with some of the technique. Everyone got excited, by the way, from his goal the other night from Derby when he took it from the corner kick, spun it with his left foot and fired it into the bottom corner. That shows his two-footedness, but I'd argue the goal that he scored against Derby 6 months earlier when Saliba was playing, that shows his shot power. He takes it from the left wing, drives inside, and fires just outside the 18-yard box with a very short back lift right into the top corner. And that is what you look for when you're trying to see, hey, are they physically ready? When we ask about Aziz, when we ask about these players, are they physically ready to come up? Keto is, because he's got those physical qualities. Catalan Surgeon, who I think people have heard, not so much. This guy is physically underdeveloped. Technically, he's there. He's awesome, but he doesn't have the physical presence. So, but I won't go into there because I think that we're rambling there. But really with Keto, what I see are those technical and physical traits that he's going to be a goal-scoring winger, something that we really haven't produced in our academy. And he's got the technical qualities to be creative as well. So he's one of those rare gems that is a goal-scoring threat and a creative presence. So he's got it all.
Yeah, my favourite is Aziz. For the last 2 years, I've watched him. And basically, where he used to play as a 10, I think when he was 17, he used to play as like a 10.
Yeah.
And then Per Mertesacker got basically introduced to the youths as well, didn't he, when he started taking over. And then Per Mertesacker basically just did a whole 180 and just said, you're not playing 10 anymore. I'm having you as a DM. And that's why I says you could easily take someone like Xhaka out and put him next to Partey, and it's already an upgrade, in my opinion. And everyone's baffled on social media, like, what? A kid next to Partey? And it's like, because you clearly don't watch this kid. He's got literally everything: height, strength, speed. I labelled him as the white Partey. That's what I labelled him as.
Yeah,
the white Partey.
do you know what he is, mate? He is a faster Guendouzi, to be honest with you.
That's a
and
better
he's more
shout.
effective. And you know what? He's more influential in the final third than Guendouzi.
Yeah,
He's got a long shot.
I like how he's not so bothered about scoring as well. He's so 100% committed to actually just defending, and you can see with Per Mertesacker, he's got probably one of the best people that can teach him that. Someone that can read the game.
Yeah, I struggle.
Is good.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Go ahead, mate.
What were you saying, George? No. I was going to say what you said.
I was saying, so Aziz, I've heard the shouts, and we all hear about him being a 6, but I've watched him quite a lot, and I think he does struggle with defensive awareness, and I use Guendouzi on purpose because he has the same thing. He struggles with the blindside run when he is in the 6. Now, the reason I think he's actually able to correct that a little bit more than Guendouzi is because this kid scans. What do I mean by that? So it's basically just when you're looking at your blind side, and you saw this. I forget who we were in the Europa League, but do you remember when we played him for a little bit of a cameo and he did a quick half turn and sold the defender and then drove into the middle of the park? Okay, if you look at him 30 seconds before, he has a look before he receives the pass behind and recognizes people coming. That's what makes him do the half turn. So he scans. So I think while he will struggle with defensive awareness because it's not his instinct, he was a 10 growing up, he has a very high chance of getting that out of his game because he scans all the time. So he's good. I prefer him as a free 8, if I'll be honest with you. Just because
Wait, guys, wait. I've just seen the lineups out. I'm going to read it to you, and I want to get your reaction on the lineup game today. In goal, Leno. Right back, Chambers. The centre backs, Holding and Mari in centre back. In midfield, Xhaka. Actually, no way. Xhaka's playing left back. Xhaka's at left back. Partey and Ceballos in midfield. Saka, Smith Rowe, Pepe, and Lacazette. That's the team. I'm going to read it one more time. Leno.
What's the bench?
Leno. I haven't seen the bench. I've just seen the first team. The bench is in. I've just seen the starting lineup. I've just seen it. They haven't announced it. They haven't announced it like officially through their website. But the journalists who out there have the list already. They've put it out. So it's Leno, Chambers, Holding, Mari, Xhaka, Partey, Ceballos, Saka, Smith Rowe, Pepe, and Lacazette. So apparently Aubameyang and Odegaard haven't travelled.
It might be a 3-4-3, just looking at the lineup.
Or no Cedric.
So you've got so if you've got, it might be a 3-4-3. Chambers, Holding, Mari as your 3, and then Saka left wing back, Partey, Ceballos in the middle. Pepe as your kind of your wing. I don't know. This is confusing actually. I don't. He probably has. You know what? It's the Sheffield system, guys. I think. Again, really, it is. So I'm worried about this lineup. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think it's a 3-5-2.
That's what I thought when I first looked at it. But I just don't know who's on the right.
Why? It's a different game. That's a different game.
I know.
Different opponent. They don't play like that, which is interesting.
You know what? It could be kind of the 3-4-3 that I was thinking, right? where you just got Chambers as the wing back, holding Mari Shaka as your back three, Partey Ceballos in the middle, Saka left wing back, and then Pepe and Smith Rowe are your right and left wing with Laka dropping in. So I think maybe that actually was a decent
what I'm thinking in my head. That's what I think it is, a 3-4-3.
Yeah, like he'll still do it. That's like the broad stroke, right? Like it'll probably be the exact same thing as Sheffield. Like the 3-1-6 is really how we'll set up. But yeah, I'm worried because of the speed on the left there. I'm worried with Mari and Shaka because their right-hand side is their strong side.
And we're playing our two slowest players on the...
I'm worried. If we were going to do this, I would have preferred Gabriel over Mari.
Yeah.
If you're going to have Shaka in that role, like he did at Sheffield, I would have preferred Gabriel for the speed. So
oh my God.
I'm worried, but you know what? I'm happy that Smith Rowe, because that's a big dynamic that'll attack. And you know what? It supports Lacazette in the front three. So if we look at it this way, guys, Lacazette's coming in. Smith Rowe will run. I would have preferred Martinelli just to have a little bit more of a goal threat. But you know what? ESR will run beyond, right? He will play like a wing forward.
Oh, wait. Simmer's not starting.
Oh,
Simmer's
is he gone?
Not starting.
I thought that was Twitter.
Simmer's not starting, apparently.
That's kind of...
I'm not seeing... I've just seen that there's rumors going about on Twitter that Simmer's not in the team. I don't know what for. If that's the case, then be my guest.
Yeah.
I'm upset Martinelli's not in there. I would have liked to see him in there.
Yeah,
that's just
it's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. I don't agree with Martinelli not starting, but let's see. I think I understand what he's trying to do, but I don't know if I agree. I'll be honest with you. We should be fine though. There's definitely enough in that 11 that I'm not terribly worried.
Moving on, we've spoken about Haaland. We've previewed the Arsenal game. We have the lineup. If I see more of the lineup, I'll tell you guys. Let's get into the transfer news that a lot of people here have been waiting for. So, Simon, you start off. What transfer news have you been told about Arsenal so far? And then I'll tell you mine afterwards. Anything new?
What's that say? Keep breaking up.
Oh, like anything you've got to like any transfer Arsenal news that you've got, or you kind of spoken about it.
You what?
Yeah, I said we've kind of spoken about it, to be honest. But Karen, what have you heard from your sources that you can tell us?
The Hakimi, basically, that a contract. What they've been talking about. And what I were told, basically, is that with Hakimi, like with or without European football, is actually his agent is the one that's pushing him more towards Arsenal, because it's his agent that's even though Arsenal without European football, they will literally still attract some of the great players, even without European football, because it's like with agents. That sort of stuff, they love it. But with Hakimi, what I were told, with a 5-year contract that was agreed, terms and all wages and all that was agreed as well. The fee, what I was told was €42 is what I was told. But this person says hold back a little bit on the fee because it could change. But 42 is what this person said. Martin Odegaard, already advanced negotiations with Real Madrid. Arsenal want to keep him, desperate to keep him. Odegaard is loving his time under Arsenal, under Arteta, getting the chance to express himself. He doesn't want to go back to Real Madrid and sit on the bench because you've got Luka Modric that signed a new deal and you've got Toni Kroos that's got a new deal as well. So them two are still going to be there. And watching Kroos the other night against Liverpool, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's still got enough in the tank. So it's like catch-22 with Odegaard. Does he come to us, or does he go back to Real Madrid to probably sit on the bench and then probably go out on loan again?
Buyback clause inside in that buyback clause.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with Real Madrid. They're happy to sell him, but they do want a buyout clause back on the contract. So that's the sticking point at the minute with Arsenal and Real Madrid. But Real Madrid are happy to actually part ways with him. So we're just going to have to see what happens towards the end of the season. Odsonne Edouard from Celtic.
I've just
Leicester.
Wait, hold on. Wait, sorry, Simon, to cut you, but I've just seen the bench, so I wanted to read out the bench. Ryan, Bellerin, said Gabriel, Cedric, El Neni, Aziz, Nelson, Willian, Martinelli, Nketiah, Balogun, and Hilson. That's the bench.
Bloody hell, Nketiah. Call off the search.
Yeah, I mean, at least Balogun's in there and Martinelli's there, so there's enough to change it.
Nelson's
which is good.
Nelson's in there, which I was surprised. No Odegaard, no Aubameyang. Which is
That's too bad. I thought Odegaard would make it, to be honest with you, but I'm sure it's like a day-by-day assessment. Like medically, from what we've heard, it's nothing too bad and nothing too long-term. But I guess he just wasn't fit, which is too bad. But you know what? In a game like this, I want somebody who's good with contact back to goal and in the counter press. So you know what? We've got the guys there. Nelson's actually a great shout if ESR gets tired for a similar profile. If you want that.
Okay, Simon, sorry to cut you. You can carry on with what you were saying about.
No, it's all right. Basically, and with Odsonne Edouard, a Celtic, Leicester have been speaking to the player. They've already agreed terms with him as well. A fee has actually been agreed, a 25 million with Leicester, and that's why loads of reports were coming out a few weeks ago that this deal was close to near enough being done. But Arsenal still stand a glimmer of a chance to get him. It's down to the player now to pick between Arsenal and Leicester. They're the only two that are in for him. Everton inquired about him, but they've sort of moved away. They're looking at Southampton striker. What's his name? Danny Ings. They're now looking at Danny Ings. So they've moved from him to go to Danny Ings. So, like I said, it's down to the player. He's happy with what Arsenal have offered. He's happy with what Leicester's offered. Brendan Rodgers is a massive fact in this because he's worked with him at Celtic. But I wouldn't quite rule Arsenal out yet. But it all depends on who Arsenal get rid of as the Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, whoever up front. And with Balogun now signing, what does that mean for Odsonne Edouard as well? Because now with Balogun signing, this was the sticking point with Balogun. He wanted reinsurances of playing time.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go out on loan.
Yeah.
Balogun is not going out on loan in the summer. He's not doing it. He's got pre-season to prove himself. I don't know about this towards end of this season. He might be chucked in a few games to see how he does in the Premier League. I still think he'll take to it duck to water.
Yeah.
And then I think the two to watch out for in pre-season will be Saliba and Balogun. That's just my take. Bakary Samari, it was all agreed.
Next season as well. Another player, like you were saying, players to watch out is Balogun and who is it? And Saliba. And I was just saying Kido Taylor Hart might actually be promoted. Oh, also, what about John Jules? What's going to happen to John Jules? What do you think? Do you think we're going to?
I don't think he's ready, mate. I don't think he's ready. He's a complete 9 profile. Those take a little bit longer to develop. He's got a lot of injuries this season with Doncaster. He just got back. He was injured, so I think he needs another couple years of like full season football just to develop a bit more. Nothing big and major. He's a great talent. I think that he has a possibility of making it, but he's 2 to 3 years away, in my opinion, before being an option.
I would told John Jules because I'm excited by that player. Mm-hmm. I have been for the last 3 years at most.
Complete profile.
Been very excited about him. I've been to watch him a few times when he was at Lincoln as well. It's not far away from me. It's just a train journey. So I've been to watch him, and he will be going out on loan again next season. He's already been told with Arsenal that nothing for next season is available to him, but he understands that and is happy with that situation. Arteta has spoken to the player directly as well, not over webcam, directly to the player. So it was, yes, Bakary Samari. It was all agreed for him to go to Arsenal. I think 2 years ago when Lopez was the
In
at Lille.
January, right?
Yeah, it was all agreed for him to go because he turned down a 45 million move from Newcastle
yeah.
twice. I don't know why they bid the same price again, but they bid the same price of 45 mil for him, and he turned it down because a move to Arsenal was agreed. Then Lopez left. I don't know how he left. I've not looked into it. And then it's harder now for Arsenal to get this player for who the guy came in after Lopez, because he's sort of Leicester agreed on a 35 million euros deal for him. But this guy now is playing hardball, but he's being compared to the president of Lyon. He's being compared to him. And he's basically, once this team agrees to pay what he wants, he'll leave it and then he'll up it, thinking that they'll just pay it, and it don't work like that. So
he's playing a weird game because he's got 1 year left on his contract. You know what I mean? So it's all good demanding a lot of those things, but come the summer, in 6 months, he's gone. He can do a pre-agreement. So I think
he doesn't want to go to Leicester. I don't think he will only go to more if no other option is. I've heard from people I've spoken to that he doesn't want to go to Leicester. His preference would be Arsenal. His general preference would be to go to Arsenal. Same with Yves Bissouma. He doesn't he has had multiple offers. Bayern Munich, one of the top ones that wanted to have approached him. He said no. I want to play for Arsenal, which also shows how much of a pull Arsenal still have, even though we're terrible. We're terrible.
No, that's it. Will always be a pull for agents and players. We will always be a pull, Arsenal. Always. And the thing with Bazuma, Liverpool have offered him a very, very, very good contract, and he's actually turned it down. Actually told them that he doesn't want to. He wants to go to Arsenal. It's weird, but he wants to go to Arsenal. And he's been speaking. He's been speaking multiple times on the phone and through text messages to Thomas Partey as well. So there's Partey there. He's also even reached out to Nicolas Pepe. And one of the Lille defenders that's there now has actually basically is talking to Nicolas Pepe and basically putting his side across for Bazuma. So to me, I actually do think we're going to get Bazuma in the summer. I really do. I think we're going to get him. I was disappointed.
Yeah. I would prefer Soumaré from the two, for sure, from a profile perspective. I worry about Basuma running back to goal, and you just have to look back at our Brighton game and how he dealt with Emile Smith-Rowe. It was tough. But you know what? Look, you surround the players with the right structure. That's never a worry, right? And it's not that Basuma's crap. It's just I think that Soumaré is more complete, but more raw. So, up and down between the two. And I do think Soumaré would have to be very cheap, no? Like Soumaré would be a lot cheaper than Basuma, no? I would imagine.
Potentially, yes. But I have been told that Arsenal want both.
Oh, they want both. I've been told
Arsenal want both, even though it's the African Cup of Nations that will be coming up, and it's like these players that we're linked to, we could be not having for a month. Arsenal are still happy to basically go along with that. That's why they're wanting both. They want to sell Joe Willock. Yeah, they want to sell Joe Willock. They want to sell Lucas Torreira. I mean, I feel for Torreira very bad. I hope he gets his move to Boca Juniors, but I can reassure people watching this that Arsenal are literally doing everything they can to get him to Boca Juniors. At the minute, Boca Juniors are playing hardball, but I think they'll soften and he will go. Guendouzi is very, 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 very close to Olympique Lyon. I don't know if it's anything to do with Aouar. I just know that he's very close to Lyon. He's told Lyon that he wants to go there.
Separate talks I was told is got nothing to do with Lyon. He just wants to go to Lyon. He really wants to. He doesn't want to play for Arsenal, which is a shame, but...
It is a shame. It is a shame because he's got all the ability, but If you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there.
Yeah,
And I
and you
don't
know
really
what?
I don't want a player that don't want to play for us.
Yeah,
We
and
have
you know
players
what?
who are
For
desperate
me,
to come
yeah,
here.
it's just, you know what? If the argument is we're getting Basuma and Samari, you have no pushback from me. That's I'm just operating under the assumption we don't have the money for that. But if we do, then like, yeah, who wouldn't take both those pivot options? You know, we need a lot more in midfield. I think if I was pressed, hey George, you could only get one. Who do you want? Sumari is my pick. You know, he won't be tied up from the African Cup of Nations. He's got a higher ceiling for me, and he's more two-way, and I think he'll be cheaper. So I
This is
think
this is
I
why
think
they're wanting two.
yeah. So if they want to, then like yeah, of course, no pushback from I think anybody on Twitter. But I think he's the one that I'm looking at as the crucial midfield anchor business because he will also take over from Partey long term. I think he will become more box to box when he gets older. Samari. He's got the
Yeah.
talent to do it. So he'll start off a little bit deeper, but then he'll transition into that role. So for me, I'm just buying for a succession plan, if that makes sense. So that's
I like your thinking. It's like Man City's.
yeah. I try, yeah, but
Sancho is a target, but we need Champions League football for it to happen.
Yeah.
I've been,
Champions
and you
League
know what? I think this maybe is what actually even got me in touch with you guys. I've always felt, and I've been hammered on Twitter for it, that Sancho. But you know what? When you guys look at Sancho, he is the perfect Arteta player. When I'm talking about that like pseudo 10 role on the left wing that ESR plays, that is what Sancho is. He is the cream of the crop version of that player, and he is the perfect Arteta player. I'm telling you. So things work out for us and we get Champions League football, it just makes logical sense that he would be looked at just in terms of his profile.
This is what sets us a different to Manchester United because they're going for him again in the summer, but he doesn't want to go there. Yeah. This is what I've been told. I was told this last summer, and I stuck to it. I literally stuck to this all last summer, and everyone was saying, you don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. It turned out I was the one that was right. He'd been lied to all summer, and then he was told by Edward Ward, he was told by Manchester United and his agent that he will be going to Man United, and they were never even at the table. They tried bullying Dortmund from going from 120, and they wanted to pay 70 for him. That's how much Man United wanted to pay, 70. And they thought, well, the player wants to come to us, we'll just sit back, we'll wait till deadline day, and then we'll probably get our man. Yeah. Didn't work. Yeah. Did not work. So the thing with Man United, they've gone to Dortmund again, and they've basically trying it all over again. They're trying to get the player. Arsenal have actually a family member of Sancho. I'm not going to name because I don't need to. They don't need to put that information out. But a family member has actually been in discussions with Arsenal. And so far, that is a key factor. And this is why, with Champions League football, if we win the Europa League and we got Champions League football, that is the first player you'll see come through because it'll be done so quick. It will literally be done so quick. Yeah, mate. And you know what? I've talked to you about it, that it just makes sense from me from an analysis standpoint. Like I kind of remove these dumb feasibility arguments on Twitter. I hate that part of Twitter. But if you even if you don't believe information, and I have none, but you look at the squad and what it needs, and you're looking at the best for the position there. All my targets, they do that. So if I look at Samari, Hakimi, Sancho, those are my three main big targets. And I really want Bertrand on a free for backup left back. I think he'd be perfect for what we need for that role. But if you looked at those three, they are the best players in their teams. And they are also kind of a step below what you would consider in terms of a global scale. So you look at Inter, Lille, and Dortmund. Amazing teams, don't get me wrong. They're also in the Champions League and we're not. But if you're looking at global appeal, come on, it's Arsenal here. That's the next step up. And I think a lot of these agents of these players are looking that Arteta has a very exciting project, that he has the structure to let them express themselves amazingly. You look at Basuma, Hakimi, and Sancho, for how we play, they would thrive. Forget the idea that the money is involved. How they play is absolutely what would thrive with us. And then if obviously if we don't get Champions League football, the backup to Sancho is Wilfred Zaha. And obviously,
And
you all
if we
know
don't get Wilfred Zaha,
terms are
I
already
know
agreed with Zaha from last
it's a
summer,
list.
basically.
If we don't get Sancho, we'll get Zaha. If we don't get Zaha, there's another player, Mano Solomon from Shakhtar Donetsk, winger. That's it. Third choice. If we don't get those two, but those two players are priorities. Another interesting news I was told. You know how Man City are looking towards the Brazilian market. You know they've completed the signing of
Kaki and
what's his name?
somebody else. Kaki, there's that.
Coutinho, the Brazilian Neymar. That's what he's called. What's his name?
Kaki
Like-
something. I'm butchering the name, but it's a Kaki. Yeah.
I've been told that Arsenal are doing very similar things. This is where, you know, the terms of like copying Man City's model. Like for there, I've been told like you football club Palmeiras, the team that developed Gabriel Jesus, they are planning to. They've already put plans in motion to absolutely raid their squad, like sort of like a feeder thing.
Like
You know,
RB
where you
Leipzig.
Yeah.
like RB Leipzig, yeah. You know, so any players Palmeiras produce with quality, like Gabriel Menino, everyone's linked with him to Chelsea, but Arsenal put plans in motion to like take their best players to us. Especially now, you know, you got Brexit, so it's harder to get players from European countries and Europe, and they're looking towards South America, American countries to get players in. So I've been told Palmeiras is one of the clubs they're looking to raid in terms of that, which is it's very good. And Edu, who's very well has very good knowledge of the Brazilian market.
You would hope he has a monopoly on that side of the world. You know what I mean? Especially through his working relationships with Corinthians and what he did with the national team, you would hope that he's got a monopoly on that side. I think maybe I'll just touch. I was seeing a couple of comments just on Gabriel Menino and Tals Magno. I've watched Tals Magno, and you know what? I love him. He's Keto Taylor Hart 2.0. He's also one of the very similars from a 6-footer who has great creative technique. The only reason I may not go for him specifically is because we have Keto at home. But there's tons of Brazilians, you know, that's a market we should look to exploit. Let's put it that way. You know, especially as we look forward for squad depth and whatnot. I think there's one more boy, Lee Buchanan, who I know that's somebody that I've highlighted in the past as a potential backup left back, which is amazing. He is Kieran Tierney 2.0. He is an excellent player, big space player, goes both ways, hard in the challenge, but has a great crossing technique on him. And so that's a homegrown option that if we can't really get the free backup left backs that we want, and we had to buy one, I would definitely look at Lee Buchanan, who's got a replica to Tierney in profile. He's somebody that I've highlighted in the past that could do a job for us. But again, I prefer the backup left back, just to get it out there for everybody in the comments. That's kind of homegrown, free, and is experienced. So I'm looking at Bertrand, top one for me.
This is why I like our new recruitment team.
Yeah.
This is what we needed when we moved to the bloody Emirates. This is what we needed. Big time.
Finally. Josh
that's really exciting, I think.
Josh Doig from Hibernian.
Oh yeah.
Arsenal
so I watched Josh. He I think Lee is farther along in his development. If you were to compare between Josh Doig and him, they're both similar profiles. Look, what I love is they're all recruiting Kieran Tierney 2.0s. So I love the links. It makes sense to me between the two. I think Lee is a little bit farther along, though, in his development than Josh. But I have a feeling that they actually may go for Josh Doig only because I think he's got a relationship with Kieran Tierney or something.
Yeah,
I read that.
recommended him. Kieran Tierney was the one who recommended him to the recruitment team, and they looked at him, and they wanted Kieran Tierney to be Josh Doig's mentor. You know what I mean?
I believe that. Yeah.
Similar, like mentor him, take him under his wing. If Kieran Tierney was my mentor, I'd be so happy You made
Yeah,
10
madman.
times.
That kid's just something else. That kid's gonna change how we're viewed in the world. I promise you. That's our captain. That's our reference and what people are gonna look at for the next phase. Arteta's gonna make him the poster boy, I think, for what he wants people to aspire to be in this team. So yeah, that would make sense. Again, I think a lot of my suggestions are like money restricted. So when I think I want Sancho, Hakimi, and Samare, I'm looking at like freeze to fill up the squad. But you know what? If we win Champions League and we're able to kind of expand that transfer kitty and get people, who says no? You know what I mean?
This is it. But then people always say they want Stan Kroenke to basically put his own money into the club. Why is he not spending? Why is he not spending? And it's like he made it very clear when he took 11% in 2007 that I didn't buy Arsenal for trophies. So I don't know why people get so angry with him. It does my head in completely. And then they say that everyone says it was Wenger, that we should have never moved to the Emirates. It's pathetic. We should have never moved. That's what I hate Wenger for. You do you two know why we moved to the Emirates?
It wasn't from him. He loved Highbury.
I know literally the answers why we moved. I wanted to ask you two.
The stadium is literally falling apart anyway. We needed to upgrade.
I don't know, to be honest with you. Yeah,
the reason we moved to the Emirates has got nothing to do with Arsene Wenger. It's got nothing to do with Stan Kroenke. It was George Graham that wanted Arsenal to move basically stadiums. That was his vision. In 2004, we were told by Peter Hillwood, it was broadcasted all over the world for you to see, all Arsenal fans. We at Barclays Bank and we're going to move to Ashburton Grove to compete with Europe's elite. Now, everyone says that Stan Kroenke, bought Arsenal when we were already at the Emirates and just used it as a cash cow. No, he doesn't. No, because when we moved to the Emirates, nobody even heard of Stan Kroenke. No one heard of it because it was George Graham whose vision basically it was. And I don't have a go at fans for not knowing this. I've educated myself on this because when there's something that I love, like Arsenal, I absolutely love it. So I will literally go through generations, speak to family relatives, granddad and all that who have been to games with. I will literally go through and just go through any bit of history. Like when people slam Herbert Chapman and just go, oh, Ozzy, is he important? And it's like, what?
That's
As an
rude.
Arsenal fan, you don't know who Herbert Chapman is. He's the one that's got the foundations to Arsenal now. He's the reason we are what we are. That's it. So then it was 2007. We just lost the Champions League final. And then everyone says basically, well, why did he give everything to Kroenke? And this is the thing, right? With David Dein, David Dein basically just got frog marched out of Arsenal. He got kicked out of Arsenal, and basically his son, who's the top agents for Cesc Fabregas, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Robin van Persie, Patrick Vieira, Robert Perez, Freddie Ljungberg, Sol Campbell. He's all our top class agents. So when everyone says, oh, the Invincibles, they weren't together that long, that's why. Because he's seen his dad being disrespected by Arsenal, and instead he sold. It were two members from the board that sold their shares basically to Kroenke, and that was his 11% that he got. If he'd sold his shares to Alistair Usmanov, Kroenke would have never had the power that he's got now. But he didn't. He sold his shares to Stan Kroenke rather than Usmanov. And because he did that, him and Usmanov were on basically like, they didn't have enough shares to put their own money in. Both of them, literally. And then all it was basically war between both of them. I'll live out long you. I'll be here longer than you. And all it took was a few board members to just go, I'll give my shares to Kroenke. I'll give my shares to Kroenke. one member of the board, who's not here now, gave his shares to Alistair Usmanov. I think it was 10%. Still not enough. Kroenke is 20% ahead. And then that's when Alistair Usmanov realised and went, I ain't getting note in here. I'm not getting note. I'm just going to sell up and go. Because he's always said, I will never sell my shares. Soon as Everton came along, he's gone. And them Everton fans, you're going to love life under that guy. Because he will be your Roman Abramovich. 100%. He will be your Roman. The only reason they've gone with Stan is because it's a project that they've done from minute one. Where
I think
the
Josh
stadium
loves
now,
it too, mate. I think Josh wants to see it through. It's very clear that he's taken like a much harder position on the club and where they're going in the future. So I think we're going to see him follow through in his project. But you know what I always say about this debate? I'll never hammer people for their opinion on it. But the money that we've been given, forget if it wasn't good enough. Let's leave that argument because it's a little bit futile. But the money we've been given, we've used horribly again. So while I can understand why the Roanoke's, they're at fault, what makes it right to buy two $100 million strikers in the span of 6 months, really, or 18 months? How is that great squad development who are both £50 million signings? Why is that happening? That's not a smart decision to make. Why are we letting the amount of people that we've let run into free contracts on freeze? Why did that become an issue? So, look, it's both ways. You know what I mean? I think, and I've always felt, once Stan received full ownership, he would take more or allow more loosening of the funds. Why would you let an investment that you don't fully own and invest for it? It doesn't make business sense. So I've never felt that he was ever going to do that. And you know what, to be fair, look at ever since he's got full ownership, that has changed. We have to be honest, from Pepe to what we received to this year with Partey and how we did it. And I'm sure what will happen in the summer, there's been a loosening of his purse strings, I feel, or at least getting a loan. He's made avenues to succeed with that. I think it's better if we get a personal injection, but look, he's opened it. And that only makes business sense because he's owned it.
The personal injections in.
Sorry?
He paid off the loan within minutes. He paid off the loan within. So
that's it. Everyone thinks we're still paying that loan. No, it's done. It's already gone.
Not paying it anymore. It's already gone. He paid it already.
Yeah, and you know what, mate? I have these arguments with people too all the time. Given the global situation with the pandemic, right? If you're an investor, this is how you become a millionaire. Forget soccer, like football and economics. Let's just focus on this right now. If you want to invest, you do so when the economy's down. That's how you make your next millionaire. Stan is not stupid. He does this. So
he's a very clever businessman.
Very clever. Very clever. So if he's and this is why I tell people, you guys don't understand. As an investor, I'm looking at this summer and saying, I can get cheap deals and I can actually increase this project and invest without spending a lot of money.
That's it, exactly. And you're looking at Erling Haaland getting touted around for $1 million a week.
$1 million a week.
It's crazy. Well, you know that what I sent you about Chelsea's offered contract, what I told you.
Ridiculous.
That was just eye-watering myself.
We don't need to tell people about that, but oh my days.
No, I know. I'm not saying it because I'm not. But...
And do you know what, mate? And do you know what? You know what's ridiculous? That's I call it the Pogba effect, and actually probably the David De Gea effect, because I think he was the first one that really opened the doors. And what I mean by that is you got Pogba and you put him on £500,000 a week, right? And David De Gea, what did he do the next week? Hey, I want more money. So when you do those things, you have to understand that the squad dynamics are going to be impacted. When we set ourselves a limit that all academy players, for example, aren't going to get £100,000 a week, which I think there was lies about what Balogun was demanding. But when you set a limit about what they can achieve, that's a precedent that you're not going to be taken advantage of the next time a great kid comes around. It's the same thing with any squad. You give somebody and just one person £1 million a week, you better expect your Shakas and your other people saying, hey, I want more money. He got a lot of money. You guys have it. So
that's why we've improved so much off the pitch, and our fans don't really realise how much we've improved. Go to 2017 when Wenger was announcing his last season, he was leaving. look at all them players and see how much you would get. Now go and look at the players we have now. You have Kieran Tierney, you're paying top dollar for. Partey, top dollar. Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Smith Rowe, Balogun, Martinelli. We're starting to actually generate players now that are going to cost a lot of money.
We had an identity crisis. We didn't. From when Wenger left, I think
he ran that club from top to bottom, literally, and that was his biggest mistake.
We had a massive hole. I think Kroenke put too much trust. Don't get me wrong, Wenger was a brilliant manager, but he shouldn't have had like full control of doing whatever he wanted. That's too much control.
Kroenke,
he was the only one that knew about football, though. That's why they gave him that control. Now they've learned from it. Arteta's had to work for his control.
And you know what, mate? What I was going to say is, look, Kroenke is like every billionaire, period. Forget the football owner argument. He is what every billionaire does. He gets promising projects and he tries to hire experts in the field to run the day-to-day. And that's what he felt that Wenger would do. And to be fair to him, from a balance sheet standpoint, Wenger was gold. He never once asked for more. He churned over players, bought them for 2, and then sold them for 10 times their values, paid for stadiums. Like, he was gold to him. Why would he go and ask for more? From a business standpoint, it was stupid. It really was. He was doing amazing things. So now, of course, we want more as fans. I get that, and I did too. I don't agree with it, but just trying to make people understand from a business perspective, it made sense why he did this. Now that we've got Tim Lewis in, I think we've got a direct line to Kroenke, and I think that we're building an off-the-pitch team that's really good. You know, I'm excited for Richard Garlick to come in. I think that's a really good experience in terms of the Premier League rules and regulations and what we need. We've been in the past like really horrible with foreign spots, and now everyone's concerned, how many homegrown players do we have? Well, that's because we never had a plan and a recruitment strategy that had a succession plan. Now that we're starting to finally do it, you know, it makes sense. And, you know, people are like, oh, why did Arsenal come back? Guys, this isn't a surprise. If you look at the off-the-field movements that we've made in the last 8 months, let's go through it. Edu, there was a reason he was selected. It's because we saw Brexit coming, and the biggest market that we needed to exploit was going to be outside of Europe. Hire somebody with the connections to do that. Secured. We need to fix this wage issue that's been a problem. Hasfami hasn't done it. Let's get Richard Garlick, the one who ran the Premier League, who knows the regulations. Done. Our academy hasn't been doing the business in the last 10 years. Okay, let's see what Per Mertesacker does. What does he do? He starts recruiting profiles. Tim Akinola, Salah Ad-Din, Muller. These are all people. Omar Rekic. We bought youngsters that are holes in our first team. There has been a succession plan. Like, I don't think people realize how smart we've been in the last 18 months. And when you start going through our squad, and I say this, and people think I'm crazy, we have the best U23 squad and core in the world. Go from back from front. Go from back to front. You got Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney. Right? Then you've got ESR, Saka, Martinelli. Those are all starting positions that are across the front line. So why would you question that we don't have that? Add another Soumare, for example, who's 22, by the way. That's a core. What else? Hakimi, who, by the way, is Kieran Tierney's age, 23. So when you add those succession plans, I don't just throw out those names for no reason. They're the profile, they're the age bracket that we need, and we're doing it. The links are there, so I'm excited. I really am.
See, this is why it's so horrible for the next 5 to 10 years for Tottenham Hotspur. Because they're done. Have you seen, they've got a new sponsorship today, I think, with, is it Andrex or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or is it the wallpaper, the paint, whatever it is?
Yeah, the paint.
Dulux, that's the, So basically, they've done a deal with them. So now you're going to see Spurs have to get loads of sponsorships because that squad ain't getting Champions League for 20 years in a row. Nowhere near is it doing that.
They're us in
as soon as Harry Kane has gone, that's it.
Done.
Their training complex, there's still millions that needs to be done to it. You look at the kids that they've got coming through. Who are they? Especially when you've got Jose as manager, you ain't seeing them. So no idea what's going to happen with them. And you look at the players that they have now. As soon as Harry Kane leaves, you're going to get Son that leaves. You're going to get Dembele that leaves. You're going to have to get Vinicius on a deal, basically, not as Kane's replacement financially, but he will be Kane's replacement. You're going to have to bring back Parrott, and he's going to have to come in and help Vinicius. They're going to have to start from the scratch. I would not be surprised if the next 2 or 3 years they're hovering over relegation. And I mean seriously hovering.
They changed their stadium, and you have to deep it in the middle of a global pandemic that's never happened in the history. In terms of us, we were hard done by with how TV money expanded. When you actually look back and when we moved to the Highbury days, to be honest, it made business sense. A lot of people don't understand the history of what happened there. But the issue was football took off in a global sense. And so you had people where this advantage that we had as the Bank of England was actually unmatched because you got your Abramovich, the Chelsea owner who came in, you got your Man Cities, and they were able to up the global scale of football. So that's what happened with us and why we trailed. When you look at Spurs right now, they took a massive loan to upgrade their stadium into a one-time pandemic that's going to have impacts economically for the next 10 years. So, yeah, I'm with you, mate. Spurs are in trouble. Let's put it that way.
And let's hope they stay that way.
I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
I don't ever want to see him relegated, though, because I love that North London derby. I live for that stuff. So I don't want to see them relegated.
Yeah, no, I need that.
They'll be like a Brighton.
They will.
They'll be like a Brighton.
They will.
And so anyway, that's how I'm gonna end the video, guys, today. It's been an absolute pleasure having the both of you on. Simon, as always, I hope me and George talking has changed your mind about Arteta. I know I saw that video where you were doing that 3-minute rant on him and you were just so angry, but I hope we've changed your mind.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when he gets his players. I told you, I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong.
Absolutely. And you know what, guys? Yeah, man. I was just gonna say, thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been awesome. I love talking football with some sensible people, and it's awesome just to get a chance on this stuff. So I hope everyone enjoyed it.
And George, as I said, thank you for coming on. Your incitement, as I was saying, half the time I was just in awe listening to the way you analyze the players, how they're being used. I was just listening, saying, "Wow, this guy knows his stuff."
I've never had someone message me so much, going, "Add him, let him join."
That's awesome thing.
But as soon as he put that thread out, and then that's when I retweeted it, and I went, "Someone finally gets it. Where's this person been?" I even told you as well. I even told you, to the transfer exchange lads as well.
Yeah.
In that WhatsApp group. I don't know if they've watched you, but they should, because Jerome's got some competition. Put it that way.
Oh,
Jesus.
Cheers, mate.
Jerome and George, the two best scouts in the world. I'm telling you,
mate. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to join. I'm trying to get my name out there a little bit. So I'm just starting out. So hopefully people enjoy it. So, and if they do, I'm totally open to guesting on anything that you guys need.
Especially about Bundesliga stuff as well. They've got a absolute gem in the new person. I forgot her name. I feel right bad.
It's like Mary or something. See, I've been doing my research.
Something like that. Something like that.
We'll talk about Rido Baku.
She's absolutely a gem with Bundesliga stuff. And then we've got Nathan Ellington, who's ex-player, and he speaks about with Manchester United. They've started doing pre-match shows as well, and then shows as well after the game. It's just definitely going to take off them lot, definitely. But I will definitely be on here as well a few times because I like it on here as well.
I think I might sign George up before you guys do.
I'm open to anything, mate. You guys are awesome, and I just love doing this. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Marina or something. Marina. Yeah, I think it is.
I love our Bundesliga stuff. I love
videos are top. Videos are brilliant.
Top class, isn't it?
Yeah.
especially about Schalke. Thank gosh we got rid of Mustafi and Kolasinac. Thank gosh. No wonder why our dynamic. No wonder why dynamic in December was so bad. Oh,
my
thank
God,
gosh we
mate.
got rid of them. Did you? So you, George? Do you know about them like revolting against the manager, causing a strike? Oh
Yeah,
my!
I heard about. I don't really have any info, but I heard from like the media stuff. But man, I'm not surprised. He's been doing that from day one. Mustafi, he in terms of having a player who hides, he's the prime suspect, and then he'll turn around and blame everybody in the back line for his mistake. He frustrates me.
Oh, that Zaha goal, that really annoys me every time.
It's the
When
Aguero one,
he just lets Zaha run across him and
mate.
then looks
Yeah.
straight at Xhaka like that.
You know
And
what
it's
it is?
like,
I'll never forget the Aguero one. You remember that? And with Man
When he
City
just
when he
tapped
just
him
got
and he went.
touched, and he's
yeah.
I'm like, oh mate, you know what? I don't like to cuss, and like I don't like to hate on our players, but you're pushing even my limits, man.
God, thank gosh. Anyway, that's how I'm gonna end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back. Hopefully not for another. I won't be like gone for a long time, like a month. I keep going on like month-long breaks. I'll be back very soon. Hopefully, I'll have Simon and George again. But thanks everyone watching and take care. Bye.
Cheers, lads. See ya.
Yeah, yeah.